What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks so much for being here and for being subscribed. If you're not, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like button. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. I talked about the Jonathan Majors situation probably a few months ago, and I haven't spoken about it since because there's been news coming out, conflicting reports. And listen, at this point in time, the judge has declined to dismiss the charges and has set a trial date for Jonathan Majors, even in light of his accuser being arrested and charged with assault. One, I want to just say one thing. When I talked about this months ago, I talked about it from the stance of responding to people who were trying to claim that this was bigger than him. There are people out there that are trying to take him down. They don't want to see a black man succeed and grow. And when he's coming to the pinnacle, then that's when they're trying to destroy him. But I was saying, who are they? Like, who is the they? Where does the they exist? Because the fact of the matter is, there were some things that were done, whether we like it or not. And when there are domestic situations between a man and a woman, he would not be the first one, nor will he be the last, to be in an altercation with a woman when you're in a relationship with them and the police arrest the man and also arrest the woman. So for those who have come out to say, look, they arrested her, she's been charged with assault, that has happened a lot of times. And there have been a lot of times where that has happened, even though the woman was trying to defend herself. So I just want to have people pause on that for a moment and remember that as well. Because if you look at the size of him and you look at the size of her, and I'm not saying that there are not women out there that have lost their marbles and have gone off on a man and have attacked him, and the man had just trying to protect himself or get out of a situation and whatever. But I believe that there was something that was there besides him being a big black man for them to arrest him at first. So the story is that her name is Gracejabbari. She would not be prosecuted if she were arrested, which did occur. So she has been arrested and is now facing charges of her own 7 months after the actor's arrest following an alleged domestic dispute. A spokesperson at the New York Police Department confirms to People that the woman, Gracejabbari, was arrested and charged with assault and criminal mischief. According to police, Jabbari, whom Majors filed a domestic violence counter complaint against in June, was issued a desk appearance ticket and will be required to appear in court to address the charges. In a statement obtained by People, Jabbari's attorney, Ross Kramer, says, "We are disappointed that Ms. Jabbari had to face an arrest that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office already determined was unwarranted. The DA's office carefully reviewed all the facts of the case and concluded that Ms. Jabbari was the victim and not the perpetrator." So I don't know if people got that, but that definitely was stated. And in a court document filed previously, the DA's office said that they had informed Ms. Jabbari's attorney that they would decline to prosecute Ms. Jabbari if she were arrested. Before we walked into the police precinct, the DA's office made clear that they would not be charging Ms. Jabbari with any offense, Kramer adds in his statement to People. It is unfortunate and re-traumatizing when a survivor of intimate partner violence is forced to endure an arrest. But Ms. Jabbari is an extremely strong and resilient person who is determined to move forward. In March, Majors was arrested in New York City over an alleged domestic dispute involving him and another woman now identified as Jabbari. Majors was identified by the police and was listed as charged with strangulation, assault, and harassment. I don't know if people get that, but strangulation, that's pretty serious. And if you see the size of this man and the size of her, that's more than, if you want to try to picture it, this woman, this young, this smaller framed woman getting upset because she may have saw a text message come through his phone from another woman, and she's asking him questions and he's deflecting, and she's using her hands out of anger because of the emotions that she's feeling. So she's slapping him, maybe punching him or whatever, and him not just pushing her away, but grabbing her by the throat. That's just, no, I don't know anyone that strangles themselves. Okay. So for people to try to equate her being arrested to her lying or her making up these things about him when he was the actual victim, I just can't buy that. And I'm not saying that he deserves to be in the place that he's in, but people have to know that in a number of domestic situations, unfortunately, the victim sometimes does get arrested by the police, even though they do not deserve it. But in terms of the prosecution, the DA or the prosecutor would decline to move forward with it. So if she has been arrested and charged, but the DA has declined to move forward in prosecution of her, but the judge has denied Jonathan's request to dismiss his case, then what does that really mean? My assumption is because he filed a cross complaint against her for these actions was probably why, after the police did their investigation, they decided to arrest her. But because the prosecution is not going to move forward and the prosecutor is not going to move forward and press charges, it really is a moot point at this point in time. So a new trial date is officially set for November 29th and was confirmed during a brief hearing that he attended via Zoom. The hearing also saw Majors' defense attorneys file a motion to request that contested evidence remain sealed and unable to be viewed by the public. And it just really makes you wonder and question, what is this evidence that they don't want to be viewed by the public? It says that the reason for this request, according to his defense attorney, is because Majors' team believes the disclosure of sensitive information will limit Mr. Majors' right to a fair trial. And yeah, that might be true. But the judge did not rule on that yet and gave those trying to oppose the motion a deadline of November 6th. So it says that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office filed a 115-page response to Majors' motion to dismiss his case. In it, the DA alleges that Majors' legal team has been leaking and or misrepresenting information about the lawsuit and have even allegedly tried to create fake wanted posters of the woman who is suing Majors. So knowing these things that we are privy to me, it really, whether people like it or not, whether people want to root for Jonathan, root for whoever you want to root for. I don't know any of these people. I'm not rooting for any of them. But just based on the information that came out previously and what we know today, to me, it sounds like she was only arrested because he filed a cross complaint. The police did their investigation, and because it was one of those situations, to me, it seems like, where they both were, she wasn't just sitting there and taking it, if you will. Or maybe she might have been, slapping at his, body or whatever, wherever on his body, because of her being upset and in her emotions and feelings. Not saying that that's okay. I'm not saying that that's right, but you can't do that, especially being a man and the size man that he is, to go from that to strangling her. Come on, guys. Like, seriously, that has to be noted. He was arrested for strangulation. Strangulation. Like, she had passed out. So I don't know if people really recall that or are even paying attention to that. And no, she probably did not want it to go this route of him being arrested and, and gotten to the place where it's gotten to now. But he's since moved on. He's in a relationship with Megan Good. And some people feel, and I thought about this too, when they initially started seeing each other, I'm thinking, okay, maybe she, meaning the chick that he allegedly assaulted, saw a text message coming through from Megan or phone call or something and was questioning him about it. So he may have already been seeing her, not how some people thought that this was a publicity stunt or this was to help to clean up his image. She being on his arm because people felt like, oh, he only dated others and not people of his own ethnicity, whatever. I felt like maybe they were already seeing each other, right? But not saying that it was okay for her to put her hands on him in any way, but I believe that it was a domestic situation where both parties were ultimately arrested, because that does happen, unfortunately, where the victim in a domestic violence situation, they will arrest both parties. They may not prosecute both parties, but the police will arrest both parties. Because that's the thing that people need to understand. Not everyone that gets arrested ultimately gets charged and it moves on to a state of, people being prosecuted and either just pleading guilty, pleading out so they don't have to go through a trial, or going through a trial and someone, being found guilty or not guilty. So not everyone that gets arrested gets charged. Sometimes the police, they make movements and decisions that they really should not have made. So I feel like people are forgetting about that and not really acknowledging that in this situation when it comes to Jonathan Majors. I'm not saying it was okay for her to put her hands on him, but ultimately, I believe that what he did, what he has alleged to have done, I shall just put it like that, was probably way worse than what she did to him. So I don't believe that she was lying. It's just a very unfortunate situation. I don't wish this for any of them. I don't wish for anyone to be involved in any domestic disputes or physical altercations. You know what I mean? If it gets to that point, you definitely don't need to be with each other at all. So, yeah, prosecution is moving forward. They have refused, the judge meaning, to dismiss the case, and a trial date has been set. And unless he pleads out, there's going to be a trial happening at the end of next month, So I don't know what's going to come of this, but he might be claiming to be the victim at this point in time. But the judge and the courts are not seeing it that way. And the prosecution isn't seeing it that way in terms of trying to label Miss Jabbari as a perpetrator either, because they said they're not going to move forward and pressing charges against her, even if there is an arrest. So you can let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section respectfully below, but it's not looking like he is the victim. It isn't. And so he's been dropped from another role, I believe. Yeah, another movie that he already filmed a bodybuilding movie. Disney has removed it from their release schedule ahead of the assault trial. So, yeah, it doesn't look like things are going the way that he was hoping or expecting them to go at this point. So should he just plead out? At this point in time, he might want to, but I don't know. I'm not his defense counsel. I can't tell him what to do, but I believe that some people who came out and said that he was the victim and she conspired against him and all of these other things, I think some of those people just really spoke too soon, didn't know all of the facts. And yeah, I may not have all of the facts either myself, but the things that has been presented that I have read and have, been privy to read and see, it's looking like she was arrested because he filed a counterclaim against her. But she's not going to be charged. So it sounds like that was just a tactic, because even the response to his motion to dismiss the case, they filed a 115-page response to that. That's no little thing. So there was a lot of there, if you will, that they had to respond to when it comes to that guy. So we just have to take note of that. Not wishing any harm on him or her for that matter, but this is just, I guess, not the way he was hoping things would play out. So he's got to make some hard decisions right now, because sometimes it's best to just take a plea than to go through a trial. And it's not looking like the courts are favoring him at this point in time. So that may not be the best decision. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section, guys. Thank you so much for being here, for liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.